Hey there! It's me again, Regan. Today we're diving into one of the key tasks in the PTE Academic test, which is the repeat sentence task. This part of the test is super important because it checks how well you can listen to and then repeat English sentences. It's kind of like a real world skill where you need to understand what someone says and then tell someone else exactly the same thing. So let's take a look at the task in detail. Here's what you need to do. So you will hear a sentence just once, right? Remember that you will only hear the recording once. Your job is to listen carefully and then repeat that sentence word for word. Simple. Right? But it really tests how well you can understand and remember what you heard. As for the length of the prompt, well, the sentences you'll hear are pretty short, usually between 3 and 9 seconds long. Even though they're short, they can sometimes be tricky with complex words or structures. As for the skills assessed for this task, well, this task checks two main skills. First is listening, how well you can understand spoken English, the words, the grammar, and what the sentence means. And the second one is speaking, how accurately you can repeat the sentence, your pronunciation, fluency, and memory. As for the time to answer, well, after you hear the sentence, you'll get a brief moment before the microphone opens. Then you have up to 15 seconds to repeat the sentence. You only have 15 seconds to repeat what you heard. It's important to start speaking as soon as the microphone is ready to make sure everything you say is recorded. All right, let's get some tips to help you ace this part of the test. Don't worry though, we'll go through these in more detail later on. The first one is to focus on the meaning. Try to understand the overall meaning of the sentence. This can make it easier to remember and repeat. The second one is note keywords. Mentally pick out the keywords while you're listening, right? You may not have enough time to write down the notes. That's why I have to emphasize it. You have to mentally pick out the keywords while you are listening to the recording. Even if you can't remember every word, getting the key ones can help you get the sentence mostly right. The third is to practice your pronunciation. Clear pronunciation is super, super important. So practice speaking a variety of sentences to get better. And the last one is to stay calm and focused. If you miss part of the sentence, do not panic. Just focus on saying what you remember as accurately as possible. Staying calm helps you perform better. So by knowing what to expect and using these strategies, you'll be in a great position to do well on this task. Plus, you'll be improving both your listening and speaking skills at the same time. So let's get started and make this fun and effective. Okay, let's dive deeper into each of these tips so you can really understand how to use them to your advantage. So let's start with concentrate on the meaning. So when you're listening to a sentence, don't get stuck on each individual word. I know you might be tempted to catch every word, especially since it's a test, right? But I wanted to treat it like a real conversation. Think about how you listen when you're talking to someone. Do you focus on every single word? I think not. You just get the overall message or the big idea of what's being said. For example, let's have this example I have here. If you hear global warming poses a significant threat to coastal cities, I know you do not have to listen to every word being said, but you have to ask yourself, what's the main idea here? What's the big picture? And you know that it's that global warming is dangerous for coastal areas. And when you've already understood that, I mean, like, understanding the context helps you remember the structure and the key elements of the sentence. When you get that main idea, the words and phrases fall into place more easily. All right, let's talk about noting keywords. So, when you are listening to a sentence, pay special attention to the nouns, verbs, and adjectives. These are usually the words that carry the most meaning in the sentence. Think of them as the main points that hold the sentence together. So, for example, if the sentence is, the professor will discuss the implications of artificial intelligence in tomorrow's lecture, what are the keywords here? Well, they would be professor, discuss, implications, artificial intelligence, tomorrow, and lecture. Here's what you will have to do to apply this technique then. As you listen, silently emphasize these keywords in your mind. Imagine them lighting up or standing out. Even if you don't remember the whole sentence perfectly, these keywords will help you reconstruct most of it accurately. It's like having a mental checklist of what you've just heard. All right, let's go to the third technique or tips, practicing your pronunciation. Focusing on common pronunciation challenges can help you significantly or can significantly enhance clarity and understanding in spoken English. So let's dive into some specific strategies for tackling these common pronunciation issues. The flat A sound, the diphthong, the TH sound, the short E sound, and the rest. I think you can see that on the screen. So let's start with the flat A sound challenge. The flat A sound, like the A in the cat, is often pronounced too broadly by non native speakers. So the technique here is to get the flat A sound right. Keep your mouth open and your tongue low in your mouth. Think of it as a quick, sharp sound. So you'd hear like the cat sat on the mat, right? So I want you to practice saying this sentence, focusing on keeping the A sound short and crisp. And you can compare your pronunciation to that of a native speaker using online pronunciation tools, or you can even search from YouTube. There are a lot of videos out there. The second is the TH sound. Well, the TH or the sound can be tricky because it requires you to place your tongue between your teeth, which isn't common in all languages, right? So for the voice as in this and the voiceless as in think, lightly bite your tongue and blow air out. For example, this theory is worth thinking through, right? I want you to repeat the sentence, paying special attention to the sounds. Make sure your tongue is in the correct position each time you say those sounds, right? Remember, you place your tongue between your teeth. The third sound is the short E sound. So the short E sound, like in bed, can be confused with the short I sound, like in bid, right? To make the short E sound, position your tongue just below your upper front teeth and spread your lips slightly. So we say, the red pen is on the desk, right? Practice this sentence, focusing on making a distinct short E sound. You can record yourself to check your accuracy, and you can tell me, or you can send your recording to me and I can give you some feedback. The fourth one is the is sound to is sound. So the is sound changes to is in plurals or third person singular forms when it follows a sibilant sound like that z, and all those and sound, right? So let's practice voicing the is sound distinctly after sibilant sound. So let's have this. The roses smell beautiful. So I want you to emphasize the is sound in roses to differentiate it from the simple S or Z sound. So I want you to, again, you can use YouTube for this one. And the last one is the ed sound to id sound. The ed ending is pronounced as id after t or d sound, like t and d sound, which can be tricky to remember and pronounce correctly. So practice ending words with id distinctly when they follow a t or the sound. So for example, we say he visited the updated records yesterday. So instead of saying visited, we say he visited, and instead of saying updated, we say updated, right? So he visited the updated records yesterday. So focus on clearly pronouncing the id in visited and updated. Break down the sentence and practice each word before combining them. All right, this one's super important. Stay calm and focus. If you miss a part of the sentence, do not panic. It happens to all of us. Just focus on what you do remember. So, for example, if the sentence was, Academic integrity is fundamental to scholarly pursuits. I know that's a very difficult sentence. I mean, some difficult words in there, but you missed the last part, like scholarly pursuits. So just focus on saying academic integrity or fundamental to correctly and confidently. So here's a good way to practice. Start with easier sentences and gradually move to more difficult ones. Set a timer to simulate the test conditions. When you practice, if you forget part of the sentence, just stay calm and continue what you remember. This practice will help you handle the real test pressure better and improve your performance. You will not be deducted points if you actually, I mean, like, you will be deducted points if you miss some of the words, but repeating yourself or self-correcting could actually be more detrimental, could make you lose more points, right? So you better stay calm and to not repeat yourself, just continue what you can remember. So incorporating these techniques, so we have concentrate on the meaning, noting keywords, practicing your pronunciation, staying calm and focus. You can you can you can probably like give yourself more time to practice all these techniques before you start taking the mock test. I know we have a mock test at the end of this course, at the end of all the tasks for the speaking and reading, sorry, speaking and the writing modules of the PTE academic test. But before that, I wanted to keep on practicing, especially the pronunciation part of this task. It's super super important. So regular focused practice, especially under timed conditions, will lead to noticeable improvement in your ability to handle the pressure and perform well in the repeat task or repeat sentence task. All right, we've covered some great strategies to help you tackle the repeat sentence task. So before we finish, let's go over some final reminders to keep in mind. First one is do not rush. Okay? Take a moment to gather your thoughts before you start speaking. Speaking at a natural pace helps you be clear and accurate. Rushing can lead to mistakes, so stay calm and focus, right? Don't repeat or correct yourself. If you slip up, just keep going. Trying to fix mistakes can break your flow and waste precious time. That's what I said earlier. It's better to move on smoothly than to get caught up in corrections. No short tone, so speak immediately, right? You will not hear any tone at all. So you have to speak immediately. Remember, there's no short tone or signal to start. As soon as the recording tone ends, be ready to speak right away and speak clearly. Focus on speaking clearly and enunciating your words. Clarity is more important than speed here, okay? Make sure each word is easy to understand to convey the sentence accurately. And for the last one is aim to repeat 80% of the word, right? Just 80%. But if you can do 100%, well, that would be better. Well, it's great to aim for 100% accuracy, of course. Remember that repeating at least 80% of the words correctly can still get you a high score. Focus on capturing the main parts of the sentence. By keeping these reminders in mind and practicing the strategies we discussed, you'll be well on your way to mastering the repeat sentence task. So keep practicing, stay calm, and you've got this. See you in the next task.